Hello, and welcome to Brassy Business Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with business owners and what they have done to make their businesses shine. I am your host, Kaylee Ruff, and let's talk business. So this week is going to be part 2 of our interview with Deanna Spain, because not only does she own Phoenix Photos, she also owns a bridal store called Bashco, which is fairly new. So I'm excited that I get to do my first 2-parter, and you guys get to hear the rest of this story. So I have Deanna and Kaylee here with me today. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So I have always loved the glamour, the glitz, all the sparkles that go with everything bridal. I used to sketch prom dresses and bridal gowns in my little notebooks when I was in middle school. So this is like a little kid's dream come true to do this. I am so excited. When I came in, I wanted to run around and I wanted to try everything on and I wanted to play dress up. But I refrained because adulting and whatnot. So can you take a minute, introduce this business, when it started, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Deanna, and I own Bashco. And
I'm Kaylee, and I'm the store manager.
And we opened in July.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Haley, what's crazy about this time last year, Bashco was not even in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So we are less than a year old. We opened last July, and it's just been a whirlwind, honestly. I'm kind of like you, where I always dreamed of the wedding industry.
Yeah.
In fact, when I lived in Oklahoma when I was 21, I called my dad and said, "Dad, I found this building on the corner downtown in Oklahoma City. It would be the perfect bridal store. We could name it the Noble Affair," because that was my maiden name. I'm like, it would be beautiful. And I said, "But I just need $30,000." And he was like, he laughed at me. Like, no. So, I mean, I always kind of thought, I dreamed of a bridal store.
Mm-hmm.
And even even as a teenager, I wanted to open up a wedding planning business, and I wanted to be in the wedding industry. I just didn't know that it was ever gonna actually come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it kind of started where Gillette was losing a bridal store.
Yep.
Obviously, I was in the wedding industry with photography, and we had a lot of bride and grooms that were like, "What are we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna do?" And then it was announced David Bridal was closing, and then it was even more like, what are we going to do?
Uh-huh.
And it just kind of felt like all these signs in the universe were like, it's your time.
Mm-hmm.
It's your time. And so a lot of people ask us if we purchased the store that was already in Gillette, and we didn't. Once they closed, we opened.
Right.
And we are a complete startup.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, but the startup itself wasn't exactly easy, because how many different buildings did you look at?
So, in fact, actually, if we would have gone with our original plan, we still wouldn't be open.
No, it's not done yet. The building's still not done.
This building's still under construction. And we actually kind of fell into our current location. The previous business here was Kaylee with Tin Wagon Boutique. Love her. She was, going through a business change and decided that she was going to close this storefront. And she put it out there that she was closing, and we kind of thought that's a perfect location.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hopped down here and talked to her, and she put us in connection with the building owner. And I don't know, it just all, how when something is supposed to be, it just falls into place.
Everything falls into place.
Yeah. So we came and toured it,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, this is home for us.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't need a whole lot of work. It was beautiful, a lot of light. And we were just like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Not without a lot of hard work.
Oh, no.
We had to do a lot of painting.
Yes.
And it all happened so fast.
Yeah.
We moved in. I got keys on my birthday.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, happy birthday to me. And I went right up to Home Depot and got paint samples. And I threw them on the wall, and I was like, this is it. And we spent that whole week painting from morning till night.
Till morning, till next morning.
Yeah.
There was a few after midnighters.
Yeah. And then we stopped painting and did the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
Because we were like, this is our way to get out there.
Yes, you guys had wedding and formal dresses on a float in a rainstorm.
Yes.
Yeah, we sure did.
You sure did.
We sure did. And so then after 4th of July parade, we came back and it was all painted and dry. And then it was ready to start putting the store together.
Mm-hmm.
So we had from the 4th of July to our grand opening on the 8th. So we had 4 days.
Oh, geez.
To have everything up and running. Point of sale system. Everything. So it was like a crash course into everything.
Yeah, like putting racks together, hanging things, steaming things, learning the sales system, training. It was fast.
It was fast. It was a sink or swim type of
Pretty much,
situation.
yep. And it was all hands on deck. It wasn't just like our staff that we have. It was our husbands, like even Kaylee's husband. Like everybody had a little piece of investment into the success of the startup. It was like our friends, like even my lawyer was watching my child, like, cause she's a great friend. And she's like, let me help you. Like, how can I help in this crazy time of your life? And so it was, I mean, thankfully it all came together, but it took a lot of sacrifice on all our families' behalves.
Well, and you took your photography employees too and had them help also, didn't you?
Yeah. So we kind of, it was all hands on deck. And we said that when we realized how quickly it was going to open. We were like, this is a requirement. Clear your schedules, find your kids' nannies. That's pretty much what the week was.
Yes. So where did you hide or store all of the dresses in the meantime?
The photography studio.
Oh my goodness. Could you move in there?
No.
Barely. No.
So we actually started, when we got the first box of dresses, we were all together and they started opening the dresses. Like they started opening the boxes and taking out these dresses. And I had a moment of panic. I was like, put them back, put them back. We can't take them out of the box because I knew we weren't like, that wasn't the home. Right. And I'm like, we need to check it all in to make sure it's all there. Cause you only have so many days.
Right.
But then put it all back because like, there was just a lot of money sitting, doing nothing.
Right.
And so, yeah, we had to use the studio before because I was adamant, no dresses come out of bags until paint is done. We have black paint in here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Like our trim and our accent color is black. It's a brand color. Black and wedding dresses don't go together.
that don't mesh. Exactly. So how do these dresses come? Because bridal gowns are not small.
They come in a box. Some of them are like vacuum packed.
Okay.
So really compact, actually. I'm surprised what they fit in boxes. Even the really ball gown, really puffy ones come in like a normal size box.
Like an Amazon size box? Like
I'd say, like bigger. Probably a little bigger, but then you get like a shipment of, like when we get our new inventory, they come in big boxes and they're heavy.
I bet.
They are real heavy. So then they pack them in there as tight as they can, and you pull one out and you're like, you just keep pulling them out and you're like, does this ever end?
Like stacked in there, kind of like tissues in a tissue box.
Yeah. Yep. They got them in there strategically to where they fit.
That's funny.
Because especially at startup, we were expecting 100 dresses. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of inventory to get shipped in. And you don't realize how physically demanding the bridal business is until you lift some wedding dresses.
Yes.
Right.
Your arms, and then, the racks are way taller than me. So you're like lifting them and carrying them, and they're big.
They're big. Yeah. And that actually was we'll probably talk about this, but like in hiring, we didn't realize up front that this was a physically demanding job.
Okay.
And so we didn't ask those questions like, can you feasibly, perform the job duties? Because even steaming, like you're on the ground for hours, steaming every layer of that dress. And, really once we got our staff, we realized quickly like, it's pretty labor intensive.
Yes.
On your bodies. So yeah, I mean, we learned a lot right off the bat.
Right. The whole thing has been a learning experience.
But it's like Christmas morning when we get those boxes.
Oh,
I bet.
Every time. Like you don't ever, that feeling never goes away when a new dress comes in.
Like that's the first thing I do. I open it. And then I'm like, oh, this is so-and-so's dress, or this is a stock dress. I'm like, look at it.
It's so pretty. Yeah. Yeah. We get excited about every single one.
I would too. Like childhood dream over here. Like, yes, it would be fun to open every box that came in.
Yeah.
And then originally when we opened the bridal store, we said no prom.
Okay.
But that quickly changed.
And then we went to market and we saw prom. And I was like, I think maybe we should start small, but I think we should do prom.
And I was in the bathroom crying. But seriously, but we'll talk about that later. But then now we get that same feeling with prom. Every time we open a prom dress and it's in a different color, or we get like so excited because it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, we just got a new one in yesterday. And I was like, look, girls, look at this one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So with the dresses, obviously you can't have like a full size run of every single dress because there's just not enough space. any like that your
Yeah.
building would have to be a warehouse in order for that to happen. So how does that work? Do you have like 2 sizes of every dress? Do you have 1 size of every dress? Do you just try to squeeze into it to get the general idea of how it looks on your body?
So we do what we call sample sizing. We take the average size of, general area, and then we order in as many varieties of dresses as we can in that size.
Okay, which is what size is that typically?
Usually like 14
Okay.
14 to 16 in bridal size, because bridal size is vastly different from street size. And so then like if they are bigger, we have ways to like cinch. I've made some clamps and stuff that like cinch them in and they can see. We try to get the general idea of what the dress is going to look like on them, fitted, of course, in their size. So we will clamp them in, or like roll. We call it roll and then clamp them so that they can see that idea. And then in the smaller sizes, we try to get in the bigger sizes as well. The different dress fits in exact sizes. It might not be the exact dress that they like, but just the fit of the dress, so that they can actually see like, oh, this is in my size, but it would actually be this dress that I love more.
Okay.
To get them, in this fit and style that they're liking.
To see like if you like the waist cut versus like the mermaid cut
Yes.
or whatever,
Yep.
just to make sure you like it on your body and can move in it.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
actually have dress size from about like a 6 to up to a 26.
Okay.
But just in that middle range is majority of the dresses.
All the styles.
Yep. That way we can get a variety of dresses, for the most variety of dresses that we can.
Mm-hmm.
And most people can.
There's nothing more discouraging than going dress shopping and walking in and being like, there's 4 options in my size.
Yeah.
Right. So when the brides come in, we approach them and say, chances are none of these are going to fit you.
Uh-huh.
Right. Like that's not the goal. The goal is to find the dress that you love on your body, and we will make it, we will try to do what we can to make it so that you can see what it would look like on your body.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also really important. Like I'm a curvy girl, and I went wedding dress shopping myself over a year ago. And like I said, it's frustrating to walk in and feel like they don't have anything in my size. So it was really important for us to also have like size inclusivity.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
is that the right word? Inclusivity?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because we don't want anybody to come in and be like, I don't fit anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing more degrading to yourself to feel like you don't fit the mold.
Mm-hmm.
And so our business model kind of goes against that, but it's all about the approach and like preparing them to say, like, in our store, you can try on 75 different dresses if you wanted to,
Uh-huh.
right? Because the goal isn't to find you and leave with that dress today.
Mm-hmm.
That's not our business model.
On your wedding day, I mean, you're supposed to feel like the prettiest girl in the world. You're
Right.
supposed to feel like a princess. Like it's your one day to feel like the most beautiful that you may ever feel.
Mhm.
And your dress plays a big role in that.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
setting them up for success that, okay, well, at least something here is going to fit me today. That's huge. Like you guys did amazing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after that, so after they pick their dress, then our goal as a business is to order them a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be what we prefer to do. However, we get brides all the time that are like, I'm getting married in May. And we're like, you have 2 months. Like, great. And so that's why we do have that size range, because push comes to shove. Hopefully we can get them into something they love that they could actually just leave the store with,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll bring back in a stock item.
So do you have like relationships set up with other stores to maybe like swap dresses or like buy a dress from them wholesale? Like, hey, I want this exact dress, but we don't have it in the store. Can you find it for me?
Not quite. I wouldn't say like direct relationships, but we are part of a bridal industry group that you could do that if it came to that.
Okay,
And
cool.
there's a vast variety of designers within that group, and most of them are always super helpful, willing to help. So I would say that if push came to shove, it would be an option.
Yeah.
And we had a situation where we had a bride come in that had a very specific look she was looking for, and kind of a tight turnaround time. And so we posted in our bridal group and said, hey, does anybody have anything in stock in about this size range with sleeves and this, and the response there. So there's a little bit of a support network, but it's nationwide. It's not, it's the bridal business isn't as connected as you would think. It's not like a boutique business where, you could be like, I don't have this style or size, maybe try this
Right.
XYZ. It's not like that in bridal.
Okay.
It's a
Because like
little more disconnected.
that's where my brain went to, because I was in a group to where like, hey, I need this exact shirt in this exact size. Does anybody have an extra? And people would be like, yep, here it is. I'll ship it to you.
Yeah.
Or like even they would like drop ship directly to the customer too sometimes. So that's where my brain went on that one.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's retail, but it's just a different animal.
Yeah,
sure.
it's more like high end retail where it's not
that, and like the amount of bridal stores in the industry is like diminishing. There's not as many bridal stores. Like, you know, the closest one to us is 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's limited.
Yeah, and then back to David's Bridal clothing.
Okay,
like they are a big box store.
Yeah, they were
right?
huge.
You could go into any David's Bridal. They had what you had shared originally. Like they would have 30 of the same dress in every size. Right. Or they could bring it in from a store close by. But they filed for bankruptcy. They ended up, they did get purchased in court. But part of that purchase was they closed most all of their smaller market stores, which is our region. So the closest David's Bridal we even have to us is like Denver.
Okay.
And so even to shop like a big box store, you have to go pretty far.
Yeah.
So that's where the smaller mom and pop small businesses are thriving. But it's bridal. It costs a lot of investment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To start a bridal store. And so that's why there's just not too many of them. It's a heavy investment on the front end.
Yeah.
Or on the back end, I guess. But,
yeah. Interesting. So fairly new business, right? Like we're not even operational for a full year yet.
Nope.
But during that time, have we had any moments to where you had to turn, pivot, reassess? I mean, prom was one of them, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing is, I mean, everything that we've tried, I can say is pretty successful. The biggest thing is just the business operation itself, like how to implement ideas and like processes through like the business end of things, like training employees on how to get things done and properly. And sizing is a big one for like tuxes and wedding gowns, and what's the proper procedure to go through with all of that. Just changing little things like that to see what's going to be most successful for our employees and ourselves, and in the experience to the customer as well.
Yeah. Kind of honing in your processes and getting everything running right and smoothly. And
I think empowering our staff, as much as Kaylee and I probably don't want to admit this, we can't do everything.
Yeah. We don't admit that.
We don't admit this very often, so it's on the DL. But we have empowered our staff to make decisions in our absence, which has taken quite a bit off our plate. We are incredibly lucky with with our staff.
Yeah.
We literally went on a cruise just a few weeks ago, and they did not contact us one time. Not one time.
Not once.
And we were shocked. Like I even purchased the text plan on the boat just in case we had to put out fires, and not one time.
No.
We got back. They had like we got back the day of our prom trunk show.
Okay.
They had it ready to go. They had it all packaged up, all the models' names on the dresses.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Everything in order. And I'm like, I just looked at Kaylee. I'm like, okay, all right. We're okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're fine. It didn't burn in a dumpster fire. Like, and so I think that even getting to a point where we had that trust that we don't have to do everything ourselves, and empowering our staff to kind of take on some of those responsibilities has been a pivoting moment, like to ourselves.
Yes.
Because we can't do it all, even down to picking dresses.
Right.
Like you have to like think about your customer, your area, your region, what they're looking for. And you know, we've picked some dresses that were like, no way.
Right.
But the girls here are like, that's beautiful. And guess what? It sells. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we can't do it all. We have to have more input than just ourselves.
For sure.
That has been a pivoting moment, I think, also.
Yeah. Just like letting go of some of it. We're both very much alike, where like we like to know what's going on all the time, and you know, just if someone's not going to take the initiative, we're just going to do it ourselves. Just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And you probably are the same way.
I may understand that concept.
Yes. So it was kind of hard to go on vacation and, like she said, like just expect It'll be okay. They'll handle it. And they did a amazing job. Like, so impressed.
The world's
No
not
joke.
going to end when I come home.
Yeah.
Well, just to even leave on vacation as a business owner and know the amount of work you're going to come back
Yes.
to it almost makes vacation not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got back and everything was done,
Yeah.
and even the stuff that they couldn't do, there was a list.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these are the things that need ordered and done. And it was like, we didn't have to spend 7 days catching up.
No.
It was more like a afternoon.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's nice. I know not all businesses are that lucky, but just accepting that others can do and have a piece of that. And when they have an ownership in that, then they're happier.
Mhm.
Right. So like, we have a pretty high morale. Like, they
Yeah.
like to come to work. They're excited to come to work. They bring their friends, to shop here. And so, but that morale comes down to empowering them to make decisions that
Mhm.
probably in most bridal stores, just the manager makes or
Right.
just the owner would make. But they're able to make them because we put that trust in them.
Yeah. So photography business is very reliant on you.
Yeah.
You are the woman behind the camera. You do the
Yeah.
edits and whatnot. So with this business, you knew that you weren't going to do any, like the photography business wasn't going anywhere.
No.
So from the beginning, did you set up like systems and processes so that this was not as reliant on you? Or was that kind of like learned as you went?
No. So I knew when Vashko was born,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was not going to be able to do it all and be a mom and a wife, a newlywed. I knew I couldn't do it all.
Right.
So, I mean, Kaylee's been there since the inception. Like, she
Mhm.
was there since the time we named the business. Like, she's been there the whole time. So we knew, I don't know that I created those plans, but like, I just said, this is how I want it to be. This is my
Mhm.
dream. I want to work there. I'll pay the bills.
Right.
I'll have say,
Right.
but I can't run it.
Uh-huh.
Here I am.
So
Here
she is.
Kaylee is.
So here she is. And so, yes, I might pay the bills and I might be a part of it, but the day-to-day operations and most of those decisions, I try to let all of that go and have Kaylee handle it.
Yeah. So I was so excited to jump into this interview because there's pretty dresses involved that I kind of completely forgot to ask. How did this idea even come up? Let's go back to the beginning.
So actually, like I said, we kind of fell into it.
Uh-huh.
The stars kind of aligned. I was actually approached by the previous business owner a few years ago to purchase her business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just gone through my divorce and it was not a good time.
Right.
However, I was dating my now husband and he was like, do it. Like, he was like, go meet with the bank, do it. And it wasn't a smart investment at the time.
Yeah.
But in the process of that, I had like called vendors. I had like asked what the transition process would be. And it just wasn't it. Fast forward to last year, January,
Yep.
I got a call from one of those vendors. And he said, they have announced that they're closing. We want to stay represented in your community.
Mhm.
We don't care if you run it from your basement.
Right.
Would you take this on? And my husband was in the car and he was like, yep. Now, mind you, this is a suit, formal wear, menswear.
Right.
And the man has never even worn a suit. And he's like, yep, we're in.
We're in.
We're
Let's
in.
do it.
And he knew it was a dream of mine. And so he was like all in, no matter what it took.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took a lot of like conversation and, whatnot. But that was like, it was like the sign. Like, it was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen now.
Uh-huh.
And so we kind of fell into it on the menswear side.
Yep.
So the plan was to retrofit the studio. We were going to do the menswear out of the studio, the photography studio. And then the more discussions we all had, we were like, why would we just do just the menswear?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
No.
If we're going to do it, we need to do it.
Right. Jump in, feet first, figure
Yeah.
the rest out later. That's
Yeah.
my motto.
Yeah.
And there was another business owner that I had some conversations with as well. And he empowered me really to just like really look deep inside and be like, you can do this.
Mhm.
Like, you can do hard things. You're capable. You've proven it several times. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have the support network to do it. And I think just recognizing that I was going to need a lot of help to do that was, huge.
Right.
But yeah, so it happened quickly. So that was January. We started looking at buildings in April.
Yep. We had our first actual tux wedding thing at the studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Measurement.
And then from the time that they had placed their order to the time they picked up their order, we were actually in the store.
Okay.
So
it was a matter of just a few months.
Yep,
yeah.
Real fast.
But that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously kind of always been a dream, but there's everything just aligned, and it's hard to deny something that's supposed to be
Right.
when things are just happening and falling into place. Down to I was going to cash flow everything.
Okay.
Like totally, like 100% just invest myself into it. And a gentleman who's very heavily rooted in the Chamber of Commerce, and in his line of business, he runs like commercial rentals.
Uh-huh.
He was like, why wouldn't you just go talk to the bank? And I said, I don't do debt. Like,
Right.
I don't do that. And he was like, I think you should go talk to them with your business plan. And like, I think you'd be really surprised at what could happen or what this could be. And I'm so glad for that conversation, because we would not be Bashco without having gone down to the bank, and the bank was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just, they just had so much faith in our business plan. And I mean, it's just been a really good opportunity for all involved.
Right.
And so it wasn't done without a lot of input from other business owners,
right,
who aren't even in any similar industry, but definitely had a lot of helpful advice for sure.
Right.
We weren't an expert in anything retail.
No.
And I can't say that we still are, but it's a learning process.
For sure. But with that, you were going to go on a cruise to Alaska.
Yeah.
Weren't you?
Mm-hmm. I had set aside money for our honeymoon,
Mm-hmm.
and we were ready to go. We had a plan for our son, all of that. And then when Bashko was born, my husband, he was like, when I say this man is like pretty amazing, he's pretty amazing. So I said, we could still do our honeymoon, pretty expensive.
Right.
Because we were going to do 2 weeks in Alaska.
Okay.
We were going to do all the things, deep sea fishing. So it was all budgeted. And I'm looking at flights, and I said, or we take this money and we put it into inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's less that we owe.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we're not going to get another opportunity like this. We can always go to Alaska.
Right.
Put the money where it needs to go.
Uh-huh.
And we canceled our honeymoon. So yeah. So we, it's not without sacrifice, but for sure, definitely in the end has been worth it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to Alaska.
You'll get there.
Yep.
You'll get to go fishing. You'll get to do all the things.
Oh yeah. We got nothing but time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. So one thing that you guys did recently that I thought was really cool, especially because it was like advertisement, it was a family affair, is you guys did like a bridal show.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that? I thought it was really cool. I love the pictures.
So we really fastly decided that we were going to run a bridal expo.
Okay.
The first challenge was finding a venue.
Mm-hmm. And where'd you do it at?
We ended up having to do it at a Prairie Sky.
Yep.
Which is not ideal for us because we're limited to vendors.
Space.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of space for a bunch of vendors. But so then that's when I had to be picky on who we wanted in there, because there are so many wedding vendors and so many amazing ones. But my biggest thing was I wanted to get the ones in that were realistic to what our brides were looking for.
Okay.
So I was like very limited, and I had to like be patient with all the vendors, like down from catering to like makeup to like fun little things like photo booths and things like in photographers and
like
DJs.
we couldn't fill the building with 90 photographers.
No. Yeah. So
we did have other photographers other than my studio. Like that was important too, but we had to categorize
to each one. And like, I had like a number, we sat down, made categories, and I'm like, we can have this many of this type, this many of this many of this. Mm-hmm. So next year we were able to secure the Camplex. So
my goodness.
Get so many more vendors, and I'm so excited about that because there were so many that wanted in, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, but like we are full.
Right.
And just down to like getting the vendors and then organizing it all and how things were going to work and the fashion show. And it was a lot of work. A lot of work. People don't realize that. And people like to think, that you might be like taking advantage of them, and that's not always
Or
the
making
case.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No. Advertising, like
Have you ever had a billboard in town?
Yes.
No, I have never
Expensive.
looked at a billboard.
Yes, so it is very, very expensive. And then, just all the extra hours put into it is on a Sunday, so that's
Uh-huh.
outside of business hours. And I'd say for what it was very successful.
Yeah.
We had a great turnout. We had more attendees than we were planning for. All the vendors were happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it did good for our little space, and we're hoping that all the vendors had a great time. We've had great feedback from
We've had great feedback.
all
Good.
of them. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping for next year we can bring all of those back and some.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it was successful for the brides. Like,
Good.
we
Yes.
didn't charge an entry. We just, we wanted brides to come and have a good
Yeah.
time. And so just by being able to shop what we have locally or in our region, because we had Black Hills vendors as well.
Mhm.
And so just to be able to get good connections and contacts and information right on site is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we were really successful in doing that. And,
Yep.
and that was really helpful to the brides.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
we heard a couple of brides say, this is all the things that we needed.
mhm.
And,
Well, that's
and if you're not a bride, you wouldn't know how hard it was to find a caterer or
Yeah.
a venue, and just searching those things. I mean, you don't know what to expect. So it was like helpful, I think, for all the brides and the vendors.
Mm-hmm. That's
Well,
good.
We even found businesses we didn't even know about.
Okay.
Like, and I'm in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like for like bakeries,
Yeah.
we had several like awesome bakeries at the Bridal Expo, but they don't have like storefronts.
Okay.
And so you wouldn't know unless through advertising or word of mouth
Mhm.
that they exist,
Right.
And so that was huge.
Yeah.
So
That's exciting. That's awesome. Very successful. I can't wait to see it next year.
it's hopefully, I mean, we have big plans,
Oh,
big
yeah.
dreams
Yes, we do.
of what that will look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So going to market is huge for this business. I mean, I feel like it's definitely more important than even like the retail clothing size, because I mean, you need to check out the quality, you need to see the fabric.
Yeah.
There's just so many different details that go into making sure that you're providing a beautiful, high quality wedding dress, or whatever quality that budget, can afford, pertain to. I don't know the word I'm going for.
Yeah.
But can you tell me, like, how was market the first time? I remember the first time I went to market, was trying to go down, like, to the bottom floor, and I was trying to go up and up the escalator. Like, my mind was that fried. My husband was like, Haley, this way. I'm like, oh, my bad.
That sounds like Deanna. So going to market, we learned quickly how many different designers that not top of the line that you wouldn't know about are there. The different styles. What's in style in New York is not in style in Wyoming. The budget for New York is not the budget for Wyoming. So we had to narrow it down to those type of things. And once you start looking at so many dresses, they all look the same.
They do.
I literally was sitting in a fashion show, and they put you at this table, like our designers put us at this table with like our current stock order, what we have in stock, what we have coming in still, like price points of where we're at, what's still going to be coming out. And then new lookbooks for the new season, right? And so I'm like flipping through, and then the fashion show starts, and all these dresses are looking the same at this point. Like, I have no idea that they're different, and I get overwhelmed, and I like shut down, and I told Kaylee, I gotta go to the bathroom. I can't wait another minute.
Hey guys, we're going to jump into an ad real quick. Listen now, I love to shop for clothes, but I also love to be seen when I am shopping, like I am an actual person. Well, the Clothesline Boutique in Gillette, Wyoming has amazing clothes along with top-notch customer service. Kayla always has new items and videos to go along with them, so if I'm shopping online, I can know exactly what size I need to order. And just for you guys, she's giving you 25% off of your first order. Heck yes. So search the clothesline on your app store. And when you check out, use code WELCOME and you are going to save. Again, search the clothesline on your app store. And when you check out, use code WELCOME and you will save 25% off of your order.
And I go to the bathroom and I cry. I cried and I called my husband and I'm like, I just don't know what to do. This is all so expensive. It all looks the same. I'm terrified of making bad investments, and he was like, what's Kaylee say? I'm like, she's fine. And he's like, just listen to Kaylee. Just calm down and listen to Kaylee. Like, you're going to be fine.
Right.
You haven't made a bad decision yet. Like, and if we do, we do.
Right.
And we'll deal with it. But just go back and sit down and calm down and listen to Kaylee.
Uh-huh.
And I think, so for me, it was very overwhelming.
Yes.
There was just so much.
Well, it's huge.
It's
like you don't
huge.
realize how big these like wholesale markets are until you go to one. Like you walk in and it is a sea of vendors.
And everybody wants your money.
They do.
Yeah.
And they like to serve you booze and then you start drinking it and then you make bad investments. Or I did that once.
Well, and Bridal was different. Like they
Yeah.
catered us the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Like they just like, I don't know. They did a really good job at keeping everything like pretty high class.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. But for me, it was very overwhelming as an owner. And so we saw that most bridal stores didn't just have owners there. Like it was their team. Like they'd have they'd have iPads out and they were all selecting things.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is why Kaylee came.
Right.
Right? Like she's to keep me grounded and be like, we're fine. Like everything's fine, And she also is day-to-day operations. So she hears what the brides are looking for
Right.
more so than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that when we first opened and ordered our dresses from lookbooks and we hadn't seen them in person, I would say there's a few dresses we wouldn't have ever picked.
No.
We have them in our store.
Still.
They don't get tried on.
Yeah.
They're never anybody's favorite.
Uh-huh.
But from a picture, it looked like it was going to be beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we learned that it's crucial.
Yeah.
It's crucial for us to be there to see these in person, or else we do bring in dresses that aren't going to be someone's favorite.
Uh-huh.
Not only just to see in person the quality of them, to actually see the sparkle of them, but also just to keep like in our region.
Yeah.
To see like, okay, this one really does look like it would sell or be something popular people would love.
And market is not just one place for
No.
us. So
No.
we have market. So we did market in Vegas for this year's spring collection. But for this year's fall, we're actually headed to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
Saturday.
exciting.
yeah.
Like this
weekend.
Saturday?
Yeah, like this weekend.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that'll be fun.
Check in with me this weekend.
Yeah.
From the bathroom. Just kidding. No, but it's Chicago market is much bigger than the last market we went to.
Okay.
And everybody's prepared me for that.
Yeah, right down to our reps. They're
Our
like,
reps are like, Deanna, just like, it's fine. Like it's much bigger times 5. Like,
Okay.
it cannot even fit in the same building.
Okay.
So we literally will be going multiple locations.
Uh-huh.
And you kind of just have to learn to have blinders on.
Yes.
Like, everything is so pretty
Yep.
and you can't have it all.
No. Like you only got so
Yeah.
much room in here.
No.
Yeah, we already are like, we're outgrowing. It'll be better once prom is over.
Over.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. So is bridal market where you have to order it when you are there and there's like a long turnaround time, or is it more like, okay, I see this dress and I want to go home and I want to think about it and I can order it later?
So at market, our designers, they do give you some incentive to obviously purchase there,
Okay.
but we have the capability of bringing something in after market.
Okay.
And we don't leave, like when we buy it at market, it's not going to come in for months.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we're going on Saturday. We will not get these dresses till fall or,
Yeah,
the
like
end of the year.
October. Yeah.
So you're like 4 to 6 months out.
yeah.
Yep. For the market wise, like ordering a dress in general is anywhere from 12 to 24 weeks.
Okay.
So you want to be dress shopping very far in advance of your wedding.
My wedding went to work. We got engaged in April and married in June.
What you would have been
We
off
still,
the
yeah,
rack
it would have been off the
option.
rack.
I
Yeah.
was like your standard size, so
Mhm.
they could order me in a sample is what ended up happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then if you don't order at market, yes, we have access to still order, after we leave if we change our mind or whatever.
Right.
But then every store who ordered at market is going to get picked first.
Yep.
And so then you could have a longer waiting time, and now you're into the next collection, the
Okay.
next season. They do summer and fall, or spring and fall seasons. And so if you miss that season, then you almost don't get it until the next. So why would,
Right.
so you always kind of got to be with the game.
Mm-hmm. Thinking
So,
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. So the bridal industry, like as a whole right now, what do you guys think is like the biggest struggle that it's facing?
I would say online shopping
Okay.
for 2 reasons: convenience and price. But that doesn't mean quality personal experience. And you might be spending double the money because it's not what you expected. It doesn't fit. Like sizing charts are not accurate.
Uh-huh.
And now you need alterations.
And I need tons of alterations. We've had a couple of brides. One got in a dress, had to cut it off of her because she couldn't get it off. That ordered online. We've had a bride order a dress online that didn't look anything like the pictures, of course.
Nothing.
So she
Not
ended
even the
up
same
having
dress.
to buy a dress that way, like coming in. And like, I mean, if you're on a budget and you think that's going to work, that's, you have to do you. But I would definitely put in your wedding budget for a nice dress at least.
Right.
Ours are like, they're going to fit you good. They're great quality. And like we've mentioned before, we try to stay like in our region's budget for.
So like what
gowns.
is the price ranges that you guys, from like your lowest to your most high extravagant dress that you have?
Our highest priced dress is right at like $2,400 right now.
Oh, okay. So very affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then like what's your lowest?
I think the lowest we have is 800.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so very affordable.
And
very
so when you
affordable.
buy a dress for $200-300 on Amazon or any online retailer, and then you get that, and now you have to have $300, $400 in alterations
Mm-hmm.
because your street size 6 is not a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even look the same.
Right.
So now you're trying to take out parts of the dress and whatever, and now you're in it every bit of what you could have got for a designer dress
Right.
in the store.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It is.
Even our
Yeah.
seamstress will call us and be like, do you have anything from this designer, because they purchased it on like a website that would be like a second wear wedding dress.
Okay.
So like a consignment situation
Yep.
online. And she's like, and it's not the right size. And I'm like, we can't help you. Like, we
Right.
don't have anything we don't have access to buy those fabrics. Like, we don't carry that designer.
Mm-hmm.
We can't help at all. And so that bride ended up paying a lot of money for a dress that was somebody else's dress, just still beautiful, but had
Right.
been worn and altered. And now she can't even wear it.
That's so sad.
So there's a lot of risk.
Yeah. Plus just like having the experience of wedding dress shopping and getting that feeling of saying yes, finding one you love. I think people are really missing out on that part of it
Oh,
too.
for sure.
Mhm.
Bringing some of your best friends, bringing your mom, if you're close to her and whatnot, and getting to sit down and everybody is like attention on you. Like, it's one of your moments to shine in your life.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
It's a crucial part of the wedding planning process.
Yeah,
Really.
exactly.
And we have a lot of brides that, like, once they say yes to their dress, it's a moment of like
Yeah.
Relief, excitement.
like it's happening.
Yeah.
And you can't get that by putting it in your cart and hitting buy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. For sure.
Mhm.
So last week I saw that you made a post on Facebook, words. And it was kind of about like moms, friends, family members that come along to go dress shopping. And this one was specifically geared towards prom and some things that you heard that maybe weren't the most encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys like go about that? Can you talk about like the specific situation a little bit? As far as like if you are the bride, advice to tell people when they're coming, or if you are a person that's joining a party to go dress shopping, like inside thoughts or
I wouldn't say it's one one exclusive situation. It
Mhm.
happens all the time, and every time I am so surprised.
So, like, will you explain the situation a little bit more? Like, what happens all the
So
time?
it will be like the bride or the prom girl gets in their dress and they come out in their face. They love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is, the one. And it will be like a mom or a sister or even a best friend that'll be like, that does not look good on your figure. Or just
You're really
comments.
gonna have to wear some what are those
girdle.
girdle. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
really gonna have to wear a girdle with that.
Shapewear. You need to wear shapewear.
You really need shapewear with
Look
that.
at that pooch. Or, like things like that. And I'm like, I want to cry for them. And then, like I'll go back with them, help them get unzipped or whatever. And I'm like, that dress looked beautiful on you. Like, I'm like,
Comments cut deep.
They do. And the sad thing is half of these girls will be like, that's just my mom talking. And I'm like, that is like not okay.
Yeah. I think that we encourage the groups and the people that they bring to be very supportive.
So you have this conversation when they come in.
It's usually in their booking process. Like when
Mhm.
they get their confirmation, we talk about in their confirmation, like the people you bring or invite to come with you should be super supportive of you.
Yep.
And then if we notice that they're making lots of comments, because it happens, I would say 75% of our appointments.
Oh, that's disappointing.
And they want I think because people feel like, oh, if I share my opinion, it might be something she's not seeing,
Mhm.
And so I think that they don't come from ill intentions,
Mhm.
not at all, but there's nothing more than feeling like I love this, but my mom doesn't, or my sister doesn't.
Yeah.
We've literally had a bride be told that her favorite dress didn't fit her figure. And she wrestled with it for a long time before she pulled the plug to buy the dress. She put it on several times.
Yep.
And we love her. Like, she looks beautiful in
Mhm.
it. But she wanted her best friend, her childhood friend, to love her dress just as much as she did.
Right.
And so that comment really cut deep. And that's hard. That's hard for us to watch because ultimately we just want you happy on your day.
Right.
And you're going to look beautiful in whatever you feel beautiful in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it does take us a lot of redirecting to be like, if you feel comfortable in it and you feel beautiful in it, like it's okay. It's okay to love something that they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I've been known, like we always have a consultant in the bridal room with them or in the prom room with them. And then we have a helper, somebody in the store that's running dresses or whatever. And so sometimes if they hear comments, they might say something like, hey, let's, she's putting her favorites on. Let's watch her face first before we make a comment.
Right.
Or, just to remind them that like she's down to her favorites now. Like, let's let her, because some people can be really swayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's hard because you don't want to get to your wedding day and be like, this is not the dress I wanted.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but women, we are our own worst critics.
Oh, for sure.
We really are. So if
Mhm.
you think that she hasn't already noticed
Right.
in the mirror, like she has a mirror in there, right? If you think she hasn't already noticed that, you're dead wrong.
Right. Like you don't need to point out my flaws. Like I can point them out to myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I, especially with some of the prom girls, like teenagers are so fragile.
Oh, they are.
And so to be told like that doesn't fit you, or your hips look wide, or your shoulders look big, or whatever, that's going to stick with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have a sign that says positive comments only.
Positive vibes only.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that like, were you expecting that? Or was that like kind of like an heartbreaking part of opening this business?
It was shocking.
It was
to me.
shocking. Yeah.
I couldn't believe, I was just, the first couple of times it happened, I was like dumbfounded. I like had no comments. So then I was like, in what way am I going to be able to like redirect this to make it like more positive, and how to approach this?
Right.
How
For sure.
to, handle those situations. So we've come up with ideas, like she said, redirecting the family and stuff that comes, being like, okay, like these are her favorites.
Right.
These are things she loves about it. These are things, trying to point out the positive
Mm-hmm.
in everything, every situation.
Yeah, for sure. So then it pretty much comes down to what makes her feel the most beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And, when you bring grandma who, is maybe financially invested in the purchase as well, she wants her opinion to be heard, and
Right.
she should be heard. But I think there's just a way to approach it that doesn't cut as deep.
Right.
And I think that just reminding people that words hurt.
Yeah.
You don't want this experience to be negative.
For sure.
You know, and we've even had brides that came back without part of their entourage or whatever, just because too many opinions then started swaying her feelings.
Right.
And it got to be overwhelming. And she's like, I just need to come back with less people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when just my advice to brides that are planning, like when you pick your people to come, I mean, obviously don't tell mom she can't come.
Right.
Like that's probably not your reality. But I mean, just reminding them like, hey, I want to feel beautiful.
Right.
Pointing out my back acne or my shoulder blades is not going to help me with
Right.
that, you know? So, because those comments when you're in that moment just stick with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a different, this is completely a different business than your photography one. So how have you gone about social media for this business versus what you did for the photography side?
I would say for this one, it's like more like we can do like videos of like people in dresses and like unboxing because we have inventory. So like, oh, look what's new this week. Or
Right.
We can do things like that versus her photography. Like I feel like she gets to post all of her beautiful pictures and everyone can see that and stuff. But like, and we in both businesses, we can still do like giveaways and like promotions and things like that with advertising to help.
And the reach for this business is different than photography.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's not very many bridal boutiques, we get a lot of our clientele from the Black Hills.
Oh, okay.
Montana, Sheridan, Buffalo, like Casper, because they maybe wanted more than just one shopping experience.
Yeah.
So we're not just seeing just Gillette. So our reach or our marketing is very much so regional.
Yeah.
And so it does take a little bit more engagement.
Trying to get to other places.
To get out there. Yeah. And being new too, that's a different challenge. We get it all the time. We'll post something like in a group for Rapid City or whatever. And then all of a sudden we're getting calls and it's like, do you do this too? Like, do you have this too? Because they hadn't heard about us before.
Yeah.
And so we're using social media and marketing in a totally different way than the photography business does, that has been established as going more by word of mouth.
Right.
We also got to a point where, again, I can't do it all. And social media is a big animal. And so we got to a point where we sat down with a media marketing manager and we said, we need help. And so she's awesome. She will like curate like a social media day where we'll take a bunch of pictures of specific things and then she'll schedule those posts to go up on certain days. She'll do like a calendar. So like maybe this day we're focusing on mother of the bride and this and that and a poll or a this and that thing on stories, or like she's laid it all out for us. So it's easier for us to just go in, schedule it and be done.
Right.
So that is huge too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and I kind of, you side-eyed Kaylee. So it kind of looks like, do you do a bunch of the social media stuff?
Yeah. It's kind of like a combination. It takes more than one person. It's a lot.
But
we like, we'll be sending each other ideas all the time. Like maybe we should do this. Or like, especially when we have events, that makes it easier to figure out what we need to post around that time, but still keep our business in mind too. Like we need to still be doing wedding dresses even though we're doing an expo.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and always little ideas are coming up. So like we've been known to like get something new in. And so we're like, okay, let's hang this on the mirror and do a cute little reel, and it just takes more than just one person to tackle that animal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sure.
Everybody is in charge of content.
Yes.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort.
Yeah. So I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
And I love that.
Yeah.
The short, easy shows that I've watched a million times because then I don't have to pay attention to them. But anyways, the episode where Lily sat on a wedding cake when she was dress shopping. Have you guys had like anything crazy that's happened in the store? I'm assuming you haven't had a chocolate wedding cake in here that somebody sat on?
No way.
No
chocolate.
No. Which is funny because we actually have a snack cart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we have like a trail mix in there.
Okay.
And we get people that are like, oh, there's probably no chocolate in here. I'm like, no, there is. Like, please keep your hands to yourself. Like, or we did like our VIP experience appointments during Black Friday. Well, we called it White Friday because white bridal.
Yes.
But and so we had like charcuterie with Boxed by Christine, and we had like little mimosas set up, and of course we've got like cranberry juice and like orange juice, and we're like, please don't leave the bridal area. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just because. So we thankfully in the short amount of time have not had any accidents or mishaps.
Yeah, people are very like mindful of
Good.
that I've seen so far. So that's very encouraging for us.
Well,
and
even
helpful.
parents, even parents who bring like
Mhm.
kids in, they're like, wash your hands, you know what I mean?
Don't
or
touch
like,
them.
don't touch anything. And obviously they're sample gowns, so they can be for sale. But we haven't had any experience yet where it you know, has something to damage.
Right, good.
Or is not fixable.
Mhm.
So, knock on wood.
Knock on wood that doesn't happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh, that day probably will come.
Right. So with this, you knew that it wasn't going to be you doing day-to-day operations, that you were going to have a staff.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go about like picking the right people? I mean, obviously Kaylee's been here from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we even being a new business, we've had a turnover.
Have you?
I think that's our economy.
Preach, sister.
Yeah.
Oh, I could go on about the turnover rate right now, but
it's really hard to find good, reliable staff.
it is.
Honestly.
That will stay longer than like, this is just my personal experience. We cannot find people that will stay longer than like 60 days. And we have people that will quit via text message on Sunday night when you were expecting them to be at work Monday morning. We've had a hellacious time lately. So,
and we haven't had quite that.
No, not quite that experience.
But
you guys don't have my luck.
No, not quite. But I mean, we as our business has grown, the need has changed, right?
Yeah, and like the type of people that you have to hire obviously have to be a specific.
Yep.
Type of like personality
for sure.
You know, like you can have opinions, but you can't have your opinions towards other people.
Yeah.
So it's just been hard to try to find the right fit in hiring, you know, and then trying to keep them here.
Right.
Well, and it's retail. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we are open on Saturdays.
Yeah, like that's the name of the game.
We are working when others are not.
Yeah.
And I was very much raised in an environment where, like, I worked in a movie theater as a teenager. The busiest days of the year were Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
That's when movies come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I am used to working the holidays. My dad, he was a grocery store manager. He was very much at the store on Christmas Eve, and you know, so I'm used to that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm like, no, we're working Black Friday, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we are here. It's retail. Or I know you want to go to the lake on the weekend, but this is retail.
Right.
Like, that is our busy day. You are required to work Saturday.
Yeah.
That is hard in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants that 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job that, you know, pays really well and has full-time benefits.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately we don't even have full-time hours.
Mm-mm.
We don't even work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You know, that's not our store hours. And Saturdays are our busy days.
Yeah. Because that's when everybody has off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's when you can get all of your family members together to come wedding dress shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so finding the right individuals to mesh with our team that's currently in place, who has that availability, is like a rare gem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not to say they're not out there and that we haven't found them. I'm just saying it just takes a very specific person.
Right.
Everybody thinks that, like, working in a bridal store, oh my gosh, that'd be so fun, and this, that, and the other, but it comes with work and sacrifice.
So just like behind the scenes with photography, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with the wedding dresses too. So kind of walk me through that process. I come in, I schedule my appointment, we do our consult, I come in, do you ask me like what I'm looking for ahead of time?
Oh yes. So you, like, if you scheduled online, we'll automatically email you an appointment confirmation and then an interview. And that gives us an idea of like what type of theme you have, what colors you have, what type of dresses you think you're liking. Then you come in, we'll do a bridal intake form. We sit down with the bride and whoever she brings with her. We ask her like her budget. We ask her what she's looking for. We make her aware of our procedures, how things work. And And again, information that maybe not got filled out on the interview.
Mm-hmm.
From that point, then we do the bridal fitting. There's always an associate assigned to a bridal fitting that never leaves that fitting.
Okay.
Like that is their job, and that's what so they attend to them, their need the whole time. If they find a dress and they say yes to the dress, at that point we'll take, if it's not a perfect fit, we'll take their measurements. We'll show them the measurement charts, which is different for every single designer.
Okay.
Very different. And then we'll decide like, okay, this dress fits mainly in the waist. So that's the most important measurement that we took. Then we will line it up with that, and they will decide on their size themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will check them out. We always take say yes to the dress pictures, which we usually post to our social media because we're excited for every single one of our bachelor brides.
Yeah.
It's an exciting day. And then from that point, they're good to go. Then we go behind the scenes. We are in charge of ordering the dress, tracking the dress, doing purchase orders, making sure things are going to get here on time, in stock, just all of the ordering process. And then from that point, like you have to keep an eye on things.
So, but when the dress shows up, because it's not done until like you do all the things, but then it physically gets here and you're not done yet.
Nope, we gotta steam it, which
So
takes a long time.
You steam every single dress,
Oh,
so
yeah.
when I pick it up, it's ready for me to put on pretty much.
Yeah. However, when they go to alterations, it still is like
They get wrinkled again.
they get
Yeah.
wrinkled again from being put in and out of the bag and stuff. And so our bachelor brides, they can bring it back to us to re-steam the
Okay.
week of their wedding.
Yeah,
So
so their wedding. So
That's a nice service.
steam it, you put it in the bag, you call the bride. Sometimes some of them want to come in and try it back on.
Yeah.
So then we schedule like a second little try on pickup appointment, and they come in and we get them in it, and they look at themselves again.
and they cry again.
And it's so, yeah. I just had one recently that I was like, oh my gosh, she was just the most beautiful little
Yeah.
thing in her dress. But every single one of them are. But I just particularly loved her because she just connected.
She connected with us for sure.
And she just told us all the things, and she was just the sweetest. So it's always fun when I get to see them in their dress, because a lot of the times once it leaves the store, we don't see it again.
Yeah.
And I want to see all the wedding pictures
Right.
in the dress.
We're heavily invested.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
because we spend so much time in an intimate setting
Yeah.
with them. By getting them in and out of dresses, we know about their fiancés, we know how they met, we know
Yep.
and so we're so excited for them. And then once that dress leaves the store, it's like a little part of us left.
Right.
Yeah, we're like,
So make sure
we
you
come
take
back.
your
Yeah.
bridal shop
Yeah.
on your wedding day
Yeah,
pictures.
because
Yes,
we want to
please.
see them. We want
Yeah.
to see them.
And that's actually, we ask them who their photographer is so we can stock that page.
Yeah. That's
Because
awesome.
we know when the wedding day's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. So then once they pick it up, sometimes if they want, they can have the seamstress come in to give them like an idea of what they would do. And
Right.
maybe a cost at that point when they try their dress on again. But then that's,
That's it.
yeah.
It's on the process. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
there's-
sad day for us.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, buddy. So I did it last week and I'm going to do it again. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So when you first got your first batch of dresses in, did you like play dress up and figure out like how these all fit differently? Or, because I mean, that's definitely what I would have done. I would have tried them all on, every single one.
So we wanted to see them all on.
Yep.
So we had our staff do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like, if you're not busy, throw on a dress, take a couple pictures, we
Yeah.
can throw them up on social media or on stories.
Yep.
And every time a new dress came in, the girls would get so excited. They
Yeah.
would throw it on. I've only put one dress on in store, believe
Really?
it or not. Mhm.
Oh.
The
I'd wanna do it all the
restraint.
time. I know. I found no self-control over here. So
Yeah.
But
I just fall in love with them when I unbox them. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, look at this one. And then it's all over again. Oh, look at this one.
yeah,
that's funny.
I think my fear is so Kaylee and my schedule is just a little bit different than some of our other girls. We're here during the day, like on the back end of things. And if somebody walks in, you don't want to be in the wedding.
You
dress.
don't want to be plain.
And so I think that it's just a little bit different for us, where they come, like at closing, we can be slow at closing. So
Right.
it's more like, don't just sit around.
Right.
Like, always content. And so, but in recently with prom, all of that, the girls, bless their hearts, have had no time
Yeah.
for anything.
Uh-huh.
And so we have not been able to play dress up quite as much. But when they got here, the excitement
Yeah.
was for sure there. And,
Oh yeah.
Well,
and
that's
that never
cool.
goes away.
Never goes away.
But you're
Goodness.
welcome to come play dress up
Oh,
anytime you want.
perfect. I might right now. We'll see.
Yeah.
So if you could go back to about a year ago and give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself?
Oh man. I don't even know.
We're learning so much every day that
Uh-huh.
it's like really hard to know. I mean, I don't, because the business a year ago wasn't even
It wasn't even a thing.
a thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even going back 6 months ago, I don't really know what I would say because we're still learning so much
Yeah.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
I think more than anything, celebrating all the small wins.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we would have probably like taken more pictures of like the whole process from painting. Like we don't have very much of like the before and after.
Yeah.
Like I have a few, but I think that I would have said like live in this moment a little bit more.
Right.
Like it's all happening so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get away from you so fast because it has not slowed down.
No.
Like we keep saying it will.
If we can just get through this
Right.
this season or this season, and it's like I don't think it's ever. There is not an off season.
There's not an off season in
No.
bridal. And so I think that I would just, my advice to myself would be just like, it's okay. Take a
Right.
moment to live in this moment.
Yeah.
Celebrate this grand opening or
Yep.
celebrate that first dress sale,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I mean, we do take pictures, but I think just take a step back and appreciate what
Yeah.
you've been given.
Sit back and enjoy your wins.
Yeah.
Celebrate your wins
Yep.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
sure.
right now we just don't even have time to, we're just living in the chaos.
Yeah.
Embrace the chaos.
Yep.
Nope, I feel that completely. So, well, that's all that I have for today. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about beyond that?
No, this has been great.
It was.
We
It
loved
was a
having
great
you.
interview. Thank you so much for sitting down, giving me an hour of your time, 2 hours of your time. So, no, this has been great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been enlightening. There's more. I say this every time, but there's always more that goes on behind the scenes than I would have ever thought.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
For sure.
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was such a fun episode. I'm going to make sure that I browse through all these dresses before I leave. If you are in the market for a wedding dress, prom dress, mother of the bride dress, make sure to check out this beautiful bridal store, Bashco. It's in Gillette, Wyoming. So if you are like within 2 hours or even more, hit them up. You will for surely find something. It is beautiful in here. If you're eyeing my outfit, I did not change from part 1, so I still have the same shirt on from Lost Creek Boutique. Check them out. So that's all that I have for today's episode. Thank you for joining me. If you would like to watch the video version of this, check us out on YouTube, the links below, or just search Brassy Business Podcast on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so we can stay in touch. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.
Brassy Business Podcast is a Black Cows production.